Hi guys, and welcome to my unboxing and first impressions video of the Samsung Galaxy S5. Yeah, but Neo. And if you've ever seen one of my unboxings before, I guess you should know these are a one-take thing, completely unscripted, completely without any thoughts, and whatever happens, happens. I will make a little cut though after I install all the apps, just because I don't want to get through all of that on camera. I think that would be just a little bit too much. Let's open it up. And it's the S5 Neo, so I guess you know what it's about. The Band-Aid, it's back. It actually, no, it doesn't really feel like the S5 did, I think. It feels a little bit different. And I'm checking the box. We have the charger here, we have some headphones, and yes, I was asked to actually include, there's the battery, to include the headphone jack test as well in the audio, which I think I will do because a few people have been asking for it, and why not? Let's put a battery in. And why would you ask, would Samsung release such a device? I guess they had some parts left over, wanted to sell them and make some money, because I don't think actually the idea is too bad, because the S5 in terms of specs was good and it was a legit flagship last year, I would say. I haven't yet ever tried it though, so keep that in mind. I can't really say if this is any better than the old one because I just haven't tried. If I would have thought a little bit earlier about that, I would have asked Samsung to get me both, so I could have made a proper comparison. But I don't think anyone with an S5 will upgrade to an S5 Neo. But this phone definitely could be interesting for someone who wants a nice flagship phone of last year, maybe, because you don't really make sacrifices with it, because see it like this. There's always the option, if you want a more affordable phone, go for a recent mid-ranger or maybe go for last year's flagship. And I think Samsung had exactly the same idea, because 1080p with 5.1 inches, the Exynos, all that is still a totally capable combo, and there's really nothing wrong with this idea. So where is it? Let's check it. I will log in, just a little bit off screen. Just a little second. Okay, we are connected, and I will do the whole setup process now. Play a few minutes with it. No, actually I won't. I will install all the apps, but check them with you first on screen. So I'm not quite sure about the performance until I will see it, and you will be live there. Okay, not live, but okay, since it is the checking the combination. What do I think of the build? First of all, the material feels really nice. It's not as the Alpha, not as soft and grippy, but it feels really good. The phone, the size is absolutely nice. I am someone who prefers the slightly smaller phones. And yes, a while ago 5.1 wasn't big. Yeah, I mean small, but nowadays it is. Okay, the bezels, they could have maybe been a little bit smaller, definitely. And I'm not quite sure if this is actually water resistant. I don't think so, because the old one had the flap, so unless the S5 Neo has now some kind of a water resistant port, I don't think this will be waterproof. But we will see. I will make the setup now, and then we will check the both all together, the performance and all the rest, just real quick. Okay, let's see you in a few seconds. Okay, I am back about 40 minutes later. Actually a little bit longer than expected, but I did let it a little bit time to get through all the updates and everything, install all the apps that I usually do. So let's quickly get through it once again, because I had a little bit time to play with it more also in the hand and so, but I didn't check the performance yet, so I will do this now and I will take the time for it. But design and build quality first. The one thing that I noticed that I don't like so much is this. I think it was audible. It does creak. I'm not the biggest fan of that. It also feels maybe a little bit less solid or substantial than the old one, the S5 did, because I only know it from a friend when I had it a few minutes in the hand or so. And I gotta correct myself, it still is IP67 certified, so it seems to be waterproof even without the flap, which is nice that it did achieve it. What is a little bit odd though is we have these two rims, and I think the old one had that as well, and therefore it feels a little bit odd. It feels thinner than it is because you only feel this part, but it feels a little bit strange because of all the curves and kind of round edges, and so it's a little bit odd. One thing that I absolutely don't like is the home button. It feels like you would press into the device because it seems like it's a little bit less raised than it was last year, but maybe this is just my head and it's just my imagination. And they did get rid of the fingerprint reader though, I guess to cut costs. Okay, you know what? Let's check the display and see what we've got here. Like I said, build quality doesn't seem bad, but yeah, it didn't really blow me away. So let's quickly see what we've got here. It's still an AMOLED display, it's still a 1080p. It should be pretty much the same, I think. I think it's actually absolutely the same. We have the color profiles available, and from what I see, this looks nice. The white is actually quite okay. Didn't have an issue for the first minutes that I used it. Sharpness, definitely absolutely great. So yeah, I would say panel gets my total okay. No problemo. Let's check the sound. Okay, nah, I would say it's passable. It's about average. I've definitely seen a lot of speakers, even the lower end phones this year, that were a lot better. So I'm definitely not impressed. Okay, let's check the performance here. I'm excited to see what it has to offer. Okay, so there is a little bit of lag, but it's mostly lag free as I see. Maybe that was a first cache, but it's definitely not really super smooth. I've seen better. I've definitely seen smoother. Of course, we have to see this more like a mid-range device, but I was expecting actually a little bit more. I thought it was smoother, especially with Lollipop. Okay, and it needs a little bit of time to load. Let's give it that. Should be done in a second. Okay. So yeah, it's quite lag-free. It's just not super smooth. I think it will do a job just fine. Not bad, not bad. Let's check Google Plus because that's a very important app for me that should run well, but it almost never does. Let's see. Of course, it will cache a little bit now. Okay, yeah, that's acceptable. No, that's fine. So performance doesn't seem to be bad. Of course, I will have to see about the battery life and all that. So far, my first impressions, build feels a little bit underwhelming because of this creaking. Also, the design feels a little bit odd. The buttons are okay. Not a fan of the home button. That they made it waterproof is a nice addition. It feels almost a little bit too light, but it feels compact still, even though the bezel is already a little bit on the thicker side. But that was the case on the S5 as well, I think. So display, I think, will be absolutely great. The camera, of course, pretty much will be great, even though it's last year's great. Performance seems solid so far. Slightly higher mid-range solid, I would say. Speaker, yeah, should do the job, but definitely also not really that great. So far, I gotta say, it's not bad. And if the price falls a little bit, it's definitely a legit alternative to some of the more mid-range devices, because we still have to see this as a 1-year-old flagship. That definitely could be better than some of the mid-range offerings we had this year, especially with the 615 that didn't perform very well, didn't have the greatest battery life and all that. But more of this in my full review sometime next week. And I'm a little bit disappointed that I didn't get the Nexus 5X yet. I hope to get it tomorrow. Until next time, bye.